Clintstone's World. Wow, it's been weeks since you've seen my face. It was a well-needed break. You know, watching everything going on in the world, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It feels like we are watching a script play out, but the people writing the script are just making things up just out of left field. Hey, what's the craziest thing you can think of right now? Make it real. That's what it feels like. Oh, man. And if you're really paying attention, man, it really does feel that way. So, you know, we watched that whole thing happen with January 6th and the riots at the Capitol and all that. And I did a live stream that day. And I went back and I watched my live stream again. And I was what I thought was fairly accurate. You know, now that we know that there was certain individuals there acting as agents provocateur, hindsight is definitely 2020. You can still see things that you didn't notice before, and you can, you know, compare those with the news that has come out, like that police officer that was supposedly bashed over the head with a fire extinguisher. That never happened. His mom actually came out public and said that never happened. So they think that guy died of a stroke. So it's amazing the propaganda the media has spun on that whole incident. And we all watched the fences go up around the inauguration. And then they stayed. The fences never came down. They have razor wire up there, thousands of troops, and it's just makes a person wonder why it's still there. And then we see this, and we're going to get into this right now. Let's take a listen. This is Senator Scott.
Senator Scott, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. First off, I want to thank everybody for your hard work. We have National Guard up here. We've had them, I guess, since around the 6th. Can you all tell us how you made the decision to bring the National Guard here, each of you, to the extent you're involved or if you're not involved, how the decision was made? That's the National Guard presence we have here now. So not as a result of the riot, but the National Guard has put up the fencing and all that.
Okay, so that began to be developed the evening of the 6th. When we made the request, we got the National Guard in. We started looking to the future, what was going to be next. We started talking about bringing in the first section of global fencing, which basically went right around Capitol Square, which is Constitution and Independence first to first. We got that in place. Then we started looking at what necessary National Guard resources, working with the National Guard representative. So that was developed with Capitol Police, working with I believe Sergeant Arms at the time. In the evening, going into the 7th, that we developed that.
Okay. Were you the only one involved, or were the Sergeant at Arms involved?
I believe so. I'd have to go back and pull that information. We were working on a number of different aspects of it at the time, but I had my general counsel as well as our operations people working on the request and the coordination with the National Guard.
And what was the purpose of the original the National Guard that came and put up the fencing? What was the rationale? What was the threat assessment?
So just make sure I understand, you're talking about the National Guard that came on the 6th?
No, the presence that stayed after.
Oh, the one that stayed after. So what was the threat assessment?
What was the threat assessment, and why was it set up that they would be here for, it seems like now months on end?
Well, again, beyond, the 8th, again, my departure date was the 8th, so the information I have is up until the 8th. It was they were putting them in place based on the mass insurrection that we had on the 6th. I wasn't aware of any additional intelligence at that point. They were just concerned about possible violent extremists regrouping and staging another attack on the Capitol.
So you haven't seen anything that would give us a threat assessment now that we have a concern that we need to have the National Guard presence. It doesn't mean there's not some, but you haven't seen anything.
No, sir. I've been really not in that environment since the 8th.
Okay. Anybody else that's any of the others that are here to testify? Do you have any do you have any threat assessment you've seen that there's a reason that we have the National Guard here? Any idea why we have the National Guard here?
This is Chief Conte. Yeah, my guess is in response to all the things that have happened. But to your question specifically about specific intelligence, I have not personally seen anything that would suggest that.
And are you involved in the decision at all of why the National Guard's here?
No, sir, I am not.
And they've not shared any threat assessment with you at all with regard to why the National Guard's here?
That has not been shared with me. No.
Does that surprise you?
I can't say that I'm really surprised. Quite frankly, we have talked about intelligence in terms of what we expect to see in the city. There are several law enforcement calls that take place between the Metropolitan Police Department and other federal partners. But again, the Capitol Police and that structure there, it's something that they're not beholden to the mayor of the District of Columbia or anything like that. So we've changed the information that we have, but again, I just have not seen anything specifically from them that suggests the fence still being the way that it is now. And I should add also, sir, that obviously I think that there needs to be a reimagining of the security posture there. Something certainly should be there, but I'm not exactly sure if the answer to that is razor wire and the deployment that we currently see.
And the former Sergeant at Arms, you don't have any reason, no one's given you you've not seen any information that would suggest that we have a threat, an imminent threat that we need the National Guard here?
I have not.
And I have not either. I resigned on the 7th and have been gone since, so I have no information.
Okay. So who would be making the decision that the National Guard needs to be here then? And where would the threat assessment come from? Does anybody know?
I'd maybe look at the current leadership over at maybe the Capitol Police in conjunction with the current Sergeant Arms.
Okay, so it would be the head of Capitol Police and the city and the acting Sergeant at Arms.
That is correct. To give you the current information on that.
And would they coordinate with the Metropolitan Police?
Well, if there was intelligence that would indicate the need for such activity, it would usually be shared with our partner, our local law enforcement, which share our perimeter and our borders.
And if there was a threat out there, would that be public? Would there be some public information that they would put out normally?
Again, that all has to do with the nature of the threat, the classification level of the threat. But again, that would be shared with law enforcement within the District of Columbia through the joint JTTF as well as the executive board for the JTTF.
I'm flabbergasted that not that you don't know now, but that there's no public information about why we have all these National Guards here. I mean, does that surprise you?
It's a significant security deployment. Again, I believe it's based on the facts of what they've seen. Hindsight being what it is. It's the facts of what occurred on January 6th, this unprecedented insurrection.
Yep.
Unprecedented insurrection by a bunch of unarmed people. That smells pretty funny, doesn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments. Later.